Hey everyone, welcome to WoW number 45. And I want to thank everyone for being here today because this is a very, very special topic, in my opinion. And Dr. Gloria today is going to talk about Candida and blood sugar. And the reason it's so important to me is that my dad had cancer 5 times. And I kept telling him, Dad, you've got to stop eating sugar. And he said, my doctor said it doesn't matter what I eat. You're not a doctor, Tracy. So he had it 5 times. And also, when he was at chemo, his doctors fed him candy, cookies, all that kind of stuff to keep themselves in business. All right. So this is a very, very near and dear topic to my heart. But before we go further, is there anyone who is brand new to WoW, never been to Waves of Wellness before? France? Well, unmute yourself, girl, so we can welcome you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Am I seeing anybody that's brand new? Where's France at? Did she hide?
Right there. She's right in the middle.
So tell me, this is your first time coming to WoW. What made you decide to make today the day?
Because this week I'm on vacation, so that's why.
Oh.
usually I work Tuesday and Thursday, so I miss Tuesday and Thursday during the day. And
Got
Friday
it.
afternoon there's something also. So I do the replay, but this time is the first time.
Well, we're
That's
happy
good.
to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So if we take too many questions, we're not in the beginning, we're not going to have time for the PowerPoint.
Okay,
so you
let's
decide.
get going. Nancy and Dr. Rich will get to you guys in a little bit. Okay.
In a little bit.
Sure she gets through all this information because we do have to start the meditation. So welcome, Dr. Gloria. Thank you so much for being able to be flexible and
to pivot.
And so do you want to go ahead and talk briefly about
let me talk briefly about how this diet came about. I was the consultant for the Catholic hospitals for quite a while in California. And the first assignment that they gave me, I was head of, these long fancy titles they give you, alternative healthcare delivery systems for seniors. That meant anybody that was in their long-term care or nursing facilities and any of their diets that they needed changes or modifications for. So I came up with this diet based on my family. I wasn't diabetic then, based on my family diabetic history and what I knew worked and what hadn't worked for them. So when I created it, it was strictly for blood sugar. But what we found out when we did the intake form, which you do a medical intake form and you start a study like this, everybody had depression. People were come on, being in a nursing facility or any kind of a facility away from home is depressing anyway. But they were all on a lot of antidepressant medications, hypertension, diabetes medications, and a lot of antibiotics that they were being given because they had infections constantly. So to cut to the chase, the diet worked so well after 90 days. We actually went on to 120 days. And what happened were even the people that were quite elderly and very ill, didn't have an appetite, were depressed, didn't want to go into the dining room. We had a lovely dining room. And they could take them in walkers or wheelchairs or whatever. They didn't want to go. They just wanted to eat in their room because they didn't want to socialize. At the end of that 120 days, they were saying, well, maybe you could take me into the dining room. And they'd start conversations and they started to light up again. They started to live again. And we found out long-term that most of them, when I did the saliva test that all of you know about, that's when I first started doing it in the 80s, had tons of Candida. And Candida is a fungus. Well, they had a lot of antibiotics, a lot of prescription drugs. And so they were feeding them tons of bread. The cooks were never trained as to what to do for special diets. So as much as they meant well, they were feeding them bread and lots of pasta and pizza. It was, twice a week was pizza night. And just, cinnamon rolls in the morning loaded with sugar. And so when we found out that their saliva test all of a sudden was either clear or significantly improved, we also found out they weren't needing as much sleep aid. They weren't needing antidepressants. Their blood sugar dropped, okay, and their blood pressure dropped. So then we realized that the diet was not only good for diabetics, but it was good to kill the yeast, because just keep in mind that the Candida is a fungus. It's very invasive. And the same things that feed Candida feed diabetes. That's antibiotics, steroids, sugar, and carbohydrates that convert to sugar. Okay, so those are the things that, so 2 things are drugs and 2 things are food. If you eat vegetables, it's not going to convert to sugar in your body and feed your Candida unless you're eating very high sugared vegetables a lot. Okay, I mean, if you ate peas every day, you may have some blood sugar issues, but that's not what we're talking about. So the diet had to be simple enough that the chefs could start making some of my recipes, that the nurses understood it, because if something came on their tray they weren't supposed to have, the nurses would know, and it worked. So that's how that diet got circulated around the nursing homes. I don't know about the hospitals because I wasn't in charge of that, but my program was strictly nursing homes and long-term care facilities for seniors. So, and seniors at that time was over 55 years of age with the hospital system. And these were all, you know, most of them were run by nuns, not all of them, but most of them were run by the Catholic nuns. So when you see the PowerPoint, I'm going to explain to you how invasive this is. How many of you have heard of the condition or somebody passing with the condition called sepsis? Just put your finger up or your hand up. Okay, several of you. Sepsis is when the fungus, the Candida fungus, takes over the body and the body can't fight it. In other words, it's so invasive that every organ in your body is shutting down. That's what sepsis is. And it can be perpetrated especially by antibiotics and by diet. Okay? So keep in mind that all of those conditions, you are in control. If you learn what to eat and how to get it under control, it doesn't mean you have to stay on it the rest of your life. I mean, if you go on a cruise or you're off for your 50th wedding anniversary and you're having a party, it doesn't mean you can't have a slice of something. What it means is this is the underlying causes of accelerating it. And that's what I want to teach you today. So let's go to the PowerPoint. And then at the end, you'll actually have the diet that I'll explain, and then you can download it. So it's really a silent epidemic because it's the 4th most common cause of acquired infection in hospitals and nursing facilities or long-term care facilities because of the drugs that are usually given, because of the food they're fed. That's what I'm saying is I don't know what the hospitals did. The last time I worked with the hospital was in the late 80s, so I don't know what they did after that. I have a feeling they changed some of their protocols after the success we had, because this was a grant that we were given for me to do this kind of a study, and I did it for 2 years for them. Okay, so the next one, oh no, let's go back for a minute. What I found interesting, I was telling Tracy the other day, here's the graphic I did way back when I was doing teaching all the time. And if you look at the Candida under a microscope, magnified 1,000,000 times, that's what it looks like. It looks like Tinker Toys. But look at the symbol, the 0 with the little tail on it. It reminds me of the QHS logo, and yet just flip it around a little bit. And I said to Tracy, my God, I didn't know in the 80s I was going to be involved in QHS, but look at, it's kind of a subliminal thing with me right now. But anyway, that's what it looks like. And you'll see in a minute. I call it the Tinker Toy fungus. So go to the next one now, hon. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole list because you're going to make this available, right? Where they can download the PowerPoint. Yeah, so you don't have to write any of this down. So here's the common symptoms. So when people say, I have ADD, ADHD, like my youngest son, we had a terrible time with him because he had so much Candida, even as a baby, that he had ear infections all the time. He had high anxiety, panic attacks, couldn't focus in school, the whole bit. But he was adopted. We adopted him from birth. I have no idea what his birth mother ate during her pregnancy. I can imagine she must have been under high stress to give him up or to have to give him up. So that all tied in because once he changed his diet, that changed. If you have the brain fog, I'm not talking about just, you forgot where you left your car keys occasionally. We all do that. But you've got the thyroid dysfunction because all of it is affected by the Candida fungus. You're trying to lose weight. You go on a diet. You're walking every day and nothing's working. Well, you've got a fungus that wants to be fed. So your diet might be better, but it's still food that is feeding the fungus. And then the other thing is, how many of you, well, I can't see all of you now, but thrush, you hear of babies having thrush where their mouth is so sore they can't even breastfeed or they can't take a bottle. It's a fungus that has overtaken their mouth and their tongue gets coated in a real thick white coating. A lot of adults have that too in my practice. That is thrush. That is Candida fungus. And if they have it as a baby, they got it from the mother and the birth canal. Okay? We all have the Candida in our bodies through the birth canal. We all get it. But when it stays in check, when you have the good bacteria in your gut, that good microbiome, you're taking probiotics, you're eating properly, you're hydrating and eliminating properly, it doesn't get out of control. This is only when it gets out of control. That's why the saliva test that costs you absolutely nothing, but a little saliva once a week is your best friend because that is something that you can control. And I'm big on you learning how to take control of your own health. So don't ever forget that saliva test that we've talked about so much. Okay, go on to the next one. Now, this is, I think, a pretty darn good example of what endotoxins are. Remember, endo means inside. They're produced in the body, and especially in the gut. So look at the difference. If you have a lot of good probiotics, you eat a lot of fermented food, you're watching your carbs and your sugars, you've got a healthy bacteria there. Look at the right side. When the Candida takes over, it's a pathogenic bacteria. Pathogenic or pathogens mean health depleting. It destroys your health. And that's what starts happening. So here you have in the gut, so think of your small and large intestine, and you've got all these nice little mountains, okay, we call that the villi, and they're doing okay. You've got a little bit of, maybe you've got a little bit of Candida in there, but you know what? The friendly bacteria gets rid of them and there's no problem. The right side is when you don't have that good bacteria and now it starts deteriorating the lining of the gut, and that's what we call leaky gut syndrome that I almost died from. That's when my liver shut down. Okay, go to the next one. So endo, just remember, means inside, produced within. Now this is the photograph that I told Tracy I spent so much money on years ago because it was taken at one of the Boston hospitals for a study on Candida, and I had to pay for the rights to reproduce it. And as long as I don't charge for it, I'm within my rights. And this is why I call it the Tinker Toy explosion. Look at that. Every little eyeball that you see on the microorganism grows another stem, another hyphae, they call it. And that is how it continues. Then the main organism dies, gives birth to 1 or 2 or 10, we don't know how many exactly. Every time it gets a little eye, it's another little tubular, okay? But what happens? When that main organism dies, you've got the die-off. That's what we call a healing crisis or a Herxheimer. Because if you take something to kill it so quick, then all of that dead stuff, for lack of a better word, of those microorganisms, their cellular structure is completely destroyed and now it becomes garbage and your body has to get rid of it. So that's why hydration is so important, as Tracy's always agreed with us and told us and shared with us why hydration is so important and why I keep harping on you have to have good, full, and complete bowel eliminations every day. Not a bowel movement every 3 or 4 days, okay? Every day, and it's got to be full and complete. That means you feel like everything is out, not like the body still has something there, but it can't quite get rid of it. Okay, go to the next one. This is a really good photograph because it's the only one I've ever seen. So I'm not going to go through every point because you will have it. I want to really go through the diet at the end. But this is how you stop the cycle. Okay, stress alone, and I'm a champion at that, I can tell you. Stress alone can accelerate your Candida, and then especially women, if you say all of a sudden I have a UTI, I have a urinary tract infection, but I didn't do anything to cause it. I didn't eat sugar. I didn't eat extra carbs. I haven't had any reason to have one. But if you've got excessive stress and your body's a little bit weakened, you can feed that particular bacteria. Antibiotics, as I said, because they wipe out all the good soldiers, all your good health enhancing bacteria. If you eat good fermented food, if you avoid the sugar and the carbs that convert to sugar, and you have the hydration and the good elimination, you're not going to give that fungus time to be able to continue to grow and to multiply. Okay, let's go to the next one. So see, your weakened immunity is not just food, it's also stress. So the emotional side, this is where I got educated the hard way with my youngest son, who, by the way, is in his 50s now. The emotional side is that quick temper. I mean, he would be, even in grade school, he would flip off all of a sudden and get so angry, or he'd get so mad and he'd storm into his bedroom and hit his head on the wall. We actually thought he could have been autistic, but he wasn't. It was the Candida, because he had constant infections. At that time, I didn't know better. So as a mother, I did the best I could. Years later, we found out what was going on, and when he changed his lifestyle, everything was okay. But it's the fear, it's the anxiety, it's that agitation that you don't know why. Okay, it's the overwhelmed feeling, something that should be okay, yeah, that wasn't perfect, but it'll be okay, all of a sudden becomes this monumentous thing that you're trying to deal with. It's because the fungus can invade every part of your body, especially the brain and the GI tract. Okay, let's go. That's why I call it the silent saboteur. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is something that Tracy and I laugh about because she and I don't agree on this, and that's okay. We don't have to. This is the way that with the hospitals and the top doctors and my experience, we calculated how much protein an adult needs a day. Now, this is not somebody like our beautiful Tracy that is athletic and very strict about her diet and doesn't eat carbs and sugar. This doesn't apply to her. She needs more protein because she's burning it off. If I'm sitting here at the computer for 14 or 15 hours a day, I am not burning it off. So the body weight to find out how much you need is you take the 0.36 times your body weight, and that gives you how many grams of protein you need in a day to stay healthy. This is an adult, meaning somebody over the age of 25. That's how the hospital weighted. So if you weigh 160 pounds, you divide it by 0.36. That is 160. So it equals 57.6. So let's say 60 grams of protein a day. I'm willing to bet that most of us on this call today don't eat 60 grams of protein a day. And if you're walking or you're exercising or you're working out, you're going to need more. So this is just a chart to be able to help you have some kind of a baseline to understand that we're not getting enough protein, because I'm willing to guarantee, and I would love for some of you later on in the blog to post when you did this, are you eating enough protein or aren't you? Because I'm almost sure most of us are not, including me. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this just talks about the healthy food. This is the foods that you can eat. And again, winter squash. Now, winter squash is a good healthy carbohydrate, but if you eat it every day, you're going to feed Candida because it's still a carbohydrate, even though it's a healthy one. So remember that everything in moderation, everything in life in moderation. Fermented veggies. I don't think you could eat too many fermented veggies. I love my pickled red onions, but those are the things that help the body to stay in balance and to not feed the Candida. Okay, and stevia, by the way, please don't pay attention to all those bloggers that say, oh, it's a birth control pill and it's not healthy when you take it. It's an herb, for God's sakes. It's in the mint family. So if mint is a birth control pill, boy, I'd something I don't know. Okay, let's go to the next one. Just for you, a couple of you have asked me that. That's why I said that. So what supports killing it? Avoid all the carbs that convert to sugar. That's most of the grains. Reduce the stress as much as possible. And that's not always possible in this crazy world when we can't control everything that happens. But the caprylic acid capsules, and I know that, Tracy, you mentioned when you and I were talking that you've been taking them since you and I talked way back about doing the saliva test. And has your saliva improved by taking them?
I haven't tested for a long time, but I do have a question about that. Do you need to take
Yes.
them on an empty stomach or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. Good question, because it's food. It's made from the inside of the coconut. So
Okay.
it's not going to compete. Good question. So the the 800 milligrams is what is sold, like the one that I use is Pure Encapsulations. I think you can see it. Yeah, Tracy has the same one. And the brand is Pure Encapsulations. It's caprylic acid, available online. And you just take one a day. Somebody who is already, for instance, if they've been in the hospital, they've had a lot of antibiotics and drugs. Tracy just posted it. Thank you, hon. You will probably need to take one twice a day for a while, but not right away. If you just finished antibiotics or you just finished being in the hospital and you've had a lot of drugs, start slow. Because remember what I said, if you kill that Candida fungus too quick, you're going to have some Herxheimer or some healing crisis, which feels like you've got flu, the worst case of flu and headaches and shivers and all of that. Any of that can be part of it. Not all of it, but any of that can be part of a healing crisis. So caprylic acid is made from the inside of coconuts. It doesn't literally kill the Candida. It weakens their outer shell so that oxygen gets in and then it dies. Okay, that's why you need to have good bowel movements so that you get rid of all that sludge after the organism dies. Vitamin C is so important. If you can get a high potency one, the one that I use for my patients is like 4,350 milligrams in 1 teaspoon. But we always say take it to bowel tolerance. That means until you get loose stools. If you're taking 4,000 milligrams a day and you're doing fine for a week, and then all of a sudden maybe you put it in a smoothie or whatever, and a week later you start having loose stools, your body talk never lies. It's telling you, I don't need this much. So cut it back until you find what your tolerance is. And one other thing that we didn't talk about the other day, Tracy, is that changes. Because depending on your stress level, when you're under really high stress, your body sucks up the vitamin C quicker. It needs it. It needs that oxygenation for the cells. When life kind of calms down, or maybe you're on vacation and you're happy and you're feeling like everything is okay for those few days, you may not be able to tolerate the 4,000. So vitamin C is not just for colds and flus or to help prevent them. It is for oxygenation of every cell. So take it to your bowel tolerance level. Coconut oil, of course, we love it. If you're using it to help kill Candida, I can eat it right out of the jar, like my boys used to eat their peanut butter when I used to get mad at them for it. So 2 tablespoons a day, split it up. You can put it into a smoothie. I'm not talking about the one that you cook. I'm talking coconut oil that you actually just take. I have some people that mix it with a nut butter and then eat it like that because they don't like it by itself, but they don't mind the flavor if it's mixed. And then make sure that the elimination and the hydration is adequate. Okay, so unless you're allergic or have an allergic response to coconuts, these recommendations are fine. This is what I use in my practice and personally to help overcome the Candida. Okay, next one.
Hold on. Can you please cover how they can have a good, full, and complete bowel movement? Because I feel that most of the population does not.
And you know what? Your feeling is right. And it's because they don't have enough hydration. They don't have enough fiber. So you have to think of fiber as the Roto-Rooter brushes. And I'm going to say what I used to tell my patients in my clinics. I want a weekly poop report. And they all used to look at me like, what? And literally they would start talking about it. I could hear truck drivers that were friends that were all patients. Did you give her her poop report? Because she's going to get upset if you don't. And it's because once you start hydrating, truck drivers, there were a lot of truck drivers in North Idaho. It's a route between Canada and the US. And they didn't drink a lot because they didn't want to stop and use the bathroom a lot. So they were all having problems. You have to hydrate well. You have to make sure that when you have a bowel movement, that you feel like everything is out. And again, not to be gross, but to be specific, it's like a cow dump. Everything comes out at once. That's the way it should be. Forget about did it float, did it sink, all these things that are online. That's old school. As long as you're having a complete dump and it's not diarrhea, then you're completely avoiding everything that is now fecal matter that has done its job and you don't need it anymore. So hydration is a big thing, and so is fiber. Okay, and if you do green smoothies, that's going to be enough. I mean, usually it is. If you use, like when I do a smoothie, I use a protein powder very similar to what Tracy does. Some celery, some cucumber, some seeds, maybe some nuts, depending on what I have. Some coconut oil in there. I put a little olive oil in there. That's or MCT oil. That alone is enough fiber usually for most people. So you have to add fiber if you're not rotor-rootering, because you'll have a bowel movement, but there's still something left behind. Does that help, Tracy?
I think so.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Did you like my poop report comment?
Yeah, your cow
They
dump.
used to look at me kind of strange when they were new patients, and then everybody, I was in a small town, come on, and everybody knows everybody. So after a while, it became a joke. Did you get Dr. Gloria your poop report? Okay, so now here's the Candida test that we talked about. For those of you that may not have the handout that Tracy put out for all of you before, here's a really good visual. When you see those strings, we call them legs, and my patients that are on my 90 or 120-day protocol have to do this every week for me. And they take a picture from the side about a minute or two after they've spit into the glass, and they send it to me by email so that I know, are they really killing the Candida or not? So that when I talk to them in their follow-ups, we can make adjustments. If it's suspended, it's just cloudy specks, it's usually, and then the specks just go to the bottom, it's usually not as acute. But boy, when it's at the top and it starts strings and then it just dumps to the bottom, you have a lot of Candida. And some people literally, they spit into the glass and it just all goes down. There's nothing left at the top. And I think I have a picture of that. So this is how to perform the test again, which we've talked about, but at least it's a reminder for you. And it's 100% accurate, because even when I do scans on people, when they have Candida, it shows, and when they start reducing it, it shows that it's gone. So it's very valid, and their immune system is better, their energy's better, and emotionally they feel better. Okay, next one. Okay. Oh yeah, I do have them. Okay, I forgot I had put them in here. This is two of my patients. Look at the left one. There's the legs I'm talking about. Okay, so that's about a stage 4, we call it. It's heavy Candida, but it didn't just go boom down to the bottom or be a tornado. The right one is a tornado. It is so thick, it's starting to stream right down, and it's going to accumulate at the bottom. When I lived in South America doing my research and my teaching, the doctors, when I started teaching this, they looked at me like, well, we've done that for centuries. What are you talking about? They know all about this. This is how they test their patients for fungus. They don't send them to a lab and say, spend thousands of dollars and let's find out if you've got Candida. No, this is what they do. It costs you absolutely nothing. And yet it's very valid, and it's a way of you to take control. So it's okay, Tracy, you can go to the next one. Thank you. The other thing is hormone imbalances are huge with Candida. The mood swings, for women, the breast soreness, under the arms, the lymphatic soreness, everything is sore like you've gone through a war without a weapon. That is also part of what happens when your lymphatic system then is totally invaded with this fungus. So you need to understand that Candida isn't just immune, it's also affects your thyroid, it affects your blood pressure, it affects your hormones. And if you take birth control pills, I don't think anybody on here is the age where we're still taking birth control pills, but maybe you are. If you take birth control pills, that's another thing that I forgot to mention, feeds Candida. And I took a lot of birth control pills in my early 20s, and I had a lot of Candida. It was horrible. Okay, but I didn't know better. I was in dentistry. Nobody in dentistry talks about Candida unless you come into the hygienist or to the dentist with a tongue fully coated in white, and they say, oh, you have thrush, and they give you an antibiotic for it or an antifungal. So even an antifungal, sure, it'll calm it down for a while, but you didn't get rid of the cause. And without knowing what continues to feed it, you're going to get it right back 6 to 8 weeks later. Okay, let's go to the next one. And by the way, it does affect your serotonin over 90%, 95%, the Candida. It disrupts it, and that is our happy hormone. So you see where the depression and the mood swings and all that comes in. And so you're producing less serotonin, okay? So now it's affecting that part of the body, okay? And now people believe that they take a probiotic only when they're sick. No, you have to have those good warriors, those good soldiers. I call them my white hats now. You've got to have your white hats in there in your intestinal system. But it doesn't have to be just probiotics. Take a good probiotic, but make sure it's the refrigerated kind, so it's live bacteria, not freeze-dried, and make sure that you rotate. So what I mean by rotate, I take a bottle that is, I can show you right now, and I'm not going to show the brand because it's not one you can get over the counter, but mine is 60 billion that I take in one capsule. That's a woman's formula. Then when I finish that, all of the formulas are 30 days in a bottle or container. I go to one that whatever happens to be available, because the pharmacist doesn't always have the one that supplies my institute. So then I may go to 70 or 80 billion in one capsule. I go all the way up to 100 billion microorganisms in one capsule. Then I start going down, going back down the ladder. So we call that, in my practice, going up and down the ladder. Why? Because if you continue to give the same probiotic to the body all the time, it gets complacent. Oh, Dr. Gloria is going to feed me that again tomorrow. I don't need to multiply and duplicate the good bacteria. So you always have to trick it. You always have to keep changing the probiotics. And again, it doesn't matter the brand. What matters is the potency and the fact that it is refrigerated, not one that is, shelf stable. You don't know what truck had it, how long it was in the UPS, what heat it was exposed to. And probiotics, to answer your question for when you travel, for instance, probiotics stay stable, even if they're the refrigerated ones, up to body temperature. So if it gets over 100 degrees, it starts deteriorating. That's why you refrigerate them or keep them in a real cool spot. So I always carried a bottle in my travel bag when I was traveling so much. Okay, the next one. But it's really important. And remember that fermented vegetables also add some good probiotics to your gut, but you'd have to eat gallons of sauerkraut or pickled red onions or whatever to get what you would get in one. 60 billion is a lot of organisms in one capsule. So you want to what do? You need to reach and maintain, not just reach it. A morning urine pH of 7.5. Now, when you do your pee sample and you put your little pH strips underneath your sample, or you put it in a little paper cup in the bathroom, and then you stick your stick in it, remember that it's going to change depending on what you ate. So I have my patients do 3 different tests every week, but this is one of them. The other was the Candida saliva test. And so just take an average at the end of the month. So if you're 7.5 today, Tracy, and then all of a sudden you have a food, let's say, you go out to dinner and you have a food that is a little bit more acidic, the next week it may be 7.2. Then it may be 7.6. As long as your average is around 7.5, no fungus, bacteria, viruses, or even cancer cells can survive and multiply in a 7.5 urine environment. Remember that, in your body, average. So it's not daily, it's average. And the Nobel Prize was won on that concept, that even cancer couldn't thrive at 7.5. So people started checking it every day and they'd panic. No, it's not every day. Check it at the same time. I do mine Sunday mornings, and I do my saliva test on Sunday mornings as well. That way I get used to it. Everything's in my bathroom, and you get into a routine. Do it whatever day is easiest for you. And I keep a little spiral book I get at the dollar store with a pen in the drawer in there, and I write it down. I can tell you what my pH was probably 5-6 years ago. And then, how much do you hydrate? Well, I talked about how important it is, but we say unless you have a kidney disorder, or unless your doctor, your medical doctor, told you for some other health reason that you shouldn't drink that much water, the rule of thumb is a minimum of half of your body weight in ounces every day. Now, I have in my sipper bottle right now, I have cranberry juice, pure cranberry juice, unsweetened with some stevia, water, and ice cubes, because I'm just getting over a UTI. And so that is counting as water, even though I just put, like 4 tablespoons of pure cranberry juice in it, it's still water because it's 24 ounces of water along with the ice cubes. So anything that is sweetened with stevia or monk fruit doesn't count as food. So you're okay with that. You can make homemade lemonade. You can buy pure lemon concentrate that's organic and then make your lemonade that way, which is what we do when we don't always have lemons. Plus, I use a lot of it for cooking. So ensure that you have the daily full and complete bowel elimination. Stay wheat-free, because years ago, all the gluten-free foods tasted horrible. They were like cardboard, not anymore. And if you want some names of some wonderful baguettes and bagels and everything else, the brand is Schar, Schar. They're made in Germany, and they're vacuum packed and sent to the grocery stores. You can get them online, and you can get them in the major grocery stores in the gluten-free section. So if you're going to eat bread, which I do occasionally, but not all the time. I did this morning. I had a piece of toast because I was starving, but it was gluten-free. There's another one that's called, oh, Brian, what's the other one that we have? Be free. Big initial B and then free. And that we found at our local store, and it's delicious. Always remember that sourdough is the healthiest bread because it already has the starter that is the fermented part. So most of everything that would be health depleting is already neutralized in a sourdough. So I buy the sourdough gluten-free. Fast food is the worst thing you can do. I mean, not only the oils that are so bad that Tracy and I have gone over and over it again through our WoW calls, but so they ignite inflammation, but they also are so toxic for you. So it's, use the oils that we recommend: the coconut oil, the extra virgin olive oil, as long as you're not cooking in high heat, the avocado oil. Tracy, you cook with one more, don't you? That I don't use. What am I missing?
Coconut oil, avocado oil, butter, and ghee.
Ghee, yes. And I do use ghee. Butter, and make sure that the butter and the ghee are organic, because when an animal is given any kind of growth hormones or antibiotics or chemicals, all of that is stored in the fat cells. So butter, cream, all of that is concentrated chemicals. If you're not buying organic, free-ranged dairy products, it's very dangerous. And never eat, this is something really important, never eat leftovers refrigerated for more than 2 days. If you can't eat a leftover in 2 days, freeze it, or give it away, or throw it away. Because I've taken a microscope. I used to do live blood cell microscopy in my clinic, and I would take that, which is magnified, 1,000,000 times. You take that and you look at a food that's been refrigerated more than 2 days under the microscope, and you can see the mold, the microscopic mold. So you're feeding your fungus, okay, even though you don't see it. When you have a piece of cheese or you have a soft food of any kind, do not just scrape off that area, throw it out. If it's a hard thing, like, for instance, Tracy, the cheese that you and I use, the big chunks of the Parmesan that you grade yourself, that's hard. So if it has a little bit of mold starting, just cut a little bit more of it so that you make sure you've got all of the spores, and that cheese should be fine. But if it's sour cream or cream cheese or anything that's soft, no. And remember that you refrigerate food within 30 minutes at the most after cooking. My grandmother, who raised me, used to leave all the food on the counter. We couldn't figure out why we always had in the summer in Southern California, which wasn't, it was summer all year, but she'd cook a pot of beans, or she'd cook, fajita mix or something, and she'd leave it on the roof. Oh, it's okay, it'll be fine. The house is cool. No, it isn't fine, because now I know that the reason we would get stomach aches is because it forms microscopic mold. We proved it with the microscope. And then if you have air filters, like I have the portable air filters, I know Tracy does too, because I think she got them after I asked her to, when we had the mold issue in your house. Don't think that you're going to go a year without changing the filters or cleaning them, because all you're doing then is recirculating the pollutants that you've already filtered out. And then all beans and legumes should be soaked for at least 2 hours. Better if it's overnight. And here's why. It not only helps to cook them quicker, which is what people think that's the only reason, but it reduces the carb content. So you'll notice that the water is usually cloudy and it's, you know, kind of, it's not real clear. That's the carb. Just like with rice, if you soak the rice, you get all that starch in the water. Then you can rinse it well and cook it. And that way you're cutting the carbs down if you do eat anything that has carbs in it. Okay, the next one, I think we're about done, aren't we?
Yep, we're
So
done.
we can go through the diet
Okay,
real quick.
let's
Yeah,
go
we're
through.
done. Okay. It's a
Maybe
good thing I talk fast, huh? Okay, so that's why I said you had everything in writing so you wouldn't have to worry about it. Now let's go to the diet. Can you make
Hey,
it a
Dr.
little bigger, hun?
Before you go to that, I just wanted you to go over the urine for a second because you did mention testing the urine. And I know that there's a lot of people who drink the alkaline water and they're testing their urine. They're purposely trying to get it up above 8. They want their
Right.
urine alkaline, but that's very dangerous. And that goes along with what you're saying, because if your urine is not acidic enough, you open the door to urosepsis happening. And so while
Yes.
you're alkalinizing the rest of your body, you're also alkalinizing your bladder. And because the urethra is so susceptible to germs coming right up inside, it's especially for the elderly or people of advanced age, it's very dangerous. So if you are doing that, please do not let your urine go above 8 because it's very dangerous for you.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right. I don't like my patients going above 7.5 or 7.6. And it's a real misconception that some of the bottled water that is alkalizing, for instance, you're paying a lot of money. If you take the right green powders, if you take some liquid minerals like the ones that I take that are fulvic and fulvic minerals, you don't need to do that because you're automatically going to be more alkaline because it's all from the earth. It's all natural. So that's a good point, Kelly. Thank you. Okay, this is a little bigger. Great. So I don't, like, again, I'm not going to read every part of it. I want you to understand it. Can you go up just a little bit so we can see the 4 columns? Tracy, I don't know how easy it is to scroll up.
Down.
Right there. Perfect. Down. Thank you. Okay, there's that picture again in full color that shows the hyphae growing out of the microorganism of the Candida. But I have 4 columns, and I'm going to say to you, the left column, the 3%, is unlimited. Absolutely unlimited. You can eat all the radishes and spinach and the protein and the watercress and the parsley, all of that, cauliflower, cabbage, celery, Swiss chard that you want on this diet, as long as you're not allergic to it and it's not, you know, going against any other dietary restrictions that you have. So that's unlimited. The other 3 columns, I want you to think of it this way. Let's say I give you $3 and I say, okay, you can spend that money any way you want because you have $3 every day. You can spend it all on one thing. You can spend it a quarter at a time. I don't care, but you can't exceed $3. That's all you have. Because if we exceed 3, we're feeding Candida. If we keep to 3, our body needs some carbs. So we're giving the body the energy that it needs to convert the carbs into energy, but healthy carbs. And you're not eating bread. You're not eating those type of carbs that convert to sugar. So look at the 6% column where it says vegetables. Let's use an example. I'm going to use the dollar example, okay? I want a whole cup of string beans. That's 1 cup. You see the serving? Okay, you just used up one of your dollars for the day. But you can still eat all the protein you want and all the vegetables on the left column. Now I'm going to go into the lentils and the vegetables that are 15%. That means how much sugar, how much carbs converts to sugar in that particular food. So if I want lentils and I go, no, I made some good lentil soup and I want 2 cups, that's $2. I just used up all 3 of my dollars for the day. Does that make sense? So let's use another example. Let's say that I want to have a half of a sweet potato. Well, I still have $2.50 to spend, right? So I still have 2.5 servings. it's equivalent to servings when I talk about dollars. So that's how you count it. And if there's an N next to it, it's a nightshade. So if you're avoiding nightshades because of inflammation, make sure you don't have those just because they're on the list. Tracy had a great comment that she asked me about, because the other list has, I guess let's go to the next one and then I'll clarify it a little bit more. Okay, so this is 3% column again. You can have unlimited in most cases. But Tracy said, why do you have cantaloupe in there when you're not supposed to have any? It's because people always ask me, well, I can have a melon, why can't I, and watermelon, why can't I have a cantaloupe? It's because if you think of the outer skin, the outer shell of a cantaloupe, it's rugged, right? It's got all these little grooves and stuff. Mold, microscopic mold, forms in cantaloupe like 99% of the time, from the time it's picked to the time it gets to the grocery store. So that mold penetrates into the fruit, but that doesn't happen with melons and watermelon. So that's why. So I laughed at Tracy. I said, what do you mean none? She said, why'd you put it on there? I said, because I needed to be able to remember to tell people why they can't have that, because they were all asking me, but they can have watermelon and melons. Okay, so now you've got the fruit again. Now, we don't allow fruit on this diet for 90 days. The only time we allow it is if you are hypoglycemic and you have to have some. Or as an example, in the rest homes, we had a lot of people that were constipated. So prunes is 20% sugar. But if they had one prune or one or two stewed prunes to help their elimination because nothing else was working, you can do it occasionally. But when you're serious, if your saliva test is really thick and you're serious of getting rid of this and serious about helping your blood sugar to get a balanced ratio, then avoid all of these for the first 90 days. And then you start adding them in little by little, and your blood sugar and your saliva test will tell you what you can have and what you can't. For instance, if I had a half a cup of cherries, my blood sugar doesn't go up. But if I have a half a cup of grapes, it does. And Tracy's body would be different, and so would Kelly's. We'd all respond differently. So that's what you start testing with after the 90 days. Okay, let's go down a little bit more. Good timing. Okay, so here's some carbohydrates. Each one of these constitutes one carb. So let's say you want 2 corn tortillas. You're going to have taco night. It's Tuesday taco night. I don't eat corn because my blood sugar doesn't like it. I love tortillas. I was raised on corn tortillas. But if you wanted them, you would be using 2 of your dollars. Okay? If you want a hot cereal, let's say gluten-free oatmeal, a half a cup is 1 of your servings. So just think of it as 1 of your dollars. You have $3 or 3 servings a day. And if you start counting that way in your head, it isn't hard. We probably have to update the allowed oils, but it's the olive oil, the flaxseed, the avocado. You see what that is. Peanut oil, I use very rarely, but I do use it for a couple of Asian dishes. Grapeseed oil for very high heat frying, I use occasionally, but not regularly, because it's not healthy to do all the time. And then the spices. I mean, you can do all the herbs, that as long as they're not nightshades. Just remember when you're buying food that if it's got a generic listing of spices, flavorings, seasonings, they usually contain either sugar, yeast, potato starch, or monosodium glutamate. That's the way they can legally hide those names in a label. And I've been sabotaged. And let me tell you what happens quickly. I bought a certain brand of something, and the label was the same. They hadn't changed it. Next time I bought it, I bought the same thing because I did fine with it, right? Little did I know I had such cramps. I had such abdominal distress. And finally, Brian starts looking at the label, and they had added, was it sucre? What was it, Brian? What was the sugar they added when I got so sick? Oh, erythritol. Remember, Tracy, you can't have it either, right? I got such abdominal cramps that I was almost in tears. And I said, but I didn't eat anything different. It's the same thing I've been buying. They changed the ingredients. And I didn't pay attention because it's the same one I've been using. So be very careful. Don't just pick things up in a hurry. Turn around and see if there's anything in there that jumps out at you as something that you shouldn't have, either a nightshade if you're avoiding it, or or any other kind of preservatives or additives that they put in there that you weren't aware of before. Okay, not allowed at any time, any fermented cheeses, because all of the cheeses listed there have mold. That's what they do, is they inject them with mold. And I love the moldy cheeses, the brie and the Stilton and the Gorgonzola, but I can't have it. If I have it, I have a UTI within a week. Honest to God, I haven't had them in umpteen years since I was in England. But the soy sauce and the tamari, soy sauce, if it's the natural one that we talked about that's fermented, or tamari that is gluten-free, it's okay. But we're talking about things here that have gluten, okay? Fruit juices, can't do it unless it's unsweetened. That's why I bought unsweetened cranberry juice, put stevia, and made myself a cranberry drink with ice cubes. Okay, I want questions because we've only got a few minutes. Can we be a couple minutes more before the meditation or not?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were doing a meditation today.
I do it every Thursday. And Jorgen
Okay.
asked about roasted pumpkin seed oil. Oh, he raised his hand. Go ahead, Jorgen.
Yeah, okay, that was one of the
Go ahead,
questions. And thank you very much. Very informative. What a blessing. I have a friend, a woman, she has always fever. Is that also a symptom of Candida?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then,
Yeah.
okay,
And
so
she should do this. She should do the saliva test, Jorgen, so
Yeah,
that she
I
can
will-
see for
I will-
herself.
I will ask her.
Yeah,
for
do the
that.
saliva test.
Absolutely.
Pumpkin
What
seed
about-
oil, I've only used very little. I've used it in some Asian dishes a few years ago, but in all honesty, I haven't used it since I've been back in the States, which is now almost 5 years. In October, it'll be 5 years. So I don't know. Tracy, do you know anything about that?
No, I've never
Because I
done
don't
it.
think pumpkin seeds are a problem.
okay
Yeah,
to
I mean,
use.
it's
It's okay to use, but here in the US, it's not like a normal thing. So it's very expensive and you get real small bottles. So it's not really,
right.
worth it here to use something like that.
It's not
But
something that's easy, but it's not
Yeah.
unhealthy, Tracy, Kelly, that I know of, right? I
No,
mean,
it's
pumpkin
healthy.
seeds or pumpkin seeds is, as long as
Yeah.
it's organic,
It
Yeah,
is.
but
you
like
should be
I said,
okay.
you get
It's
such tiny
delicious.
bottles and it's expensive. So it's not really, financially efficacious for most people to use.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
like pecan oil. You're welcome, Jorgen. I love pecan oil. I'm in Texas. They're known for their pecans. One little bottle like this is $19.95. I mean, I can use it on a salad for, 2 or 3 times and that's it. So it's not that it's not healthy. Kelly's absolutely right. It's so expensive that I really guard it. I'm real stingy with my pecan oil. Okay, Cheryl, go ahead, hon.
Oh, wait, let me add one thing. The reason that seed oils are not ideal is because of their omega-6 content. And we want to make sure that we have a good ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. And you get omega-6 from a lot of different types of foods. So it's better to avoid any type of oils that are seed oils, vegetable oils, because they are high in omega-6. So, okay.
They are, and what you want is omega-6, as Tracy just reminded us, is what causes inflammation.
Oh, yeah.
Omega-3s do not, but you do want a ratio. Life has to have balance. Can't have all 3s or all 6s. But to Jorgen's question, if you had it occasionally on something, on a salad or a dish, not going to hurt you. You just don't want to make a steady diet of it, okay? Because it is omega-6s.
Okay, Cheryl.
Okay, Cheryl, go ahead.
So just quickly, and you may have just answered the question, occasionally use a little bit of sesame oil because of the flavor.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I do. I do in
and-
my stir fries, absolutely.
But the other thing is on salad dressing, I use balsamic vinegar with olive oil, organic olive oil. So, yeah.
Go for it. No, go for it. As
I'm
long
on
as you're
that
not,
almost daily.
I am an addict. I know, but I'm an addict on balsamic vinegar. You should have seen my suitcase when I came back from Italy. It was embarrassing to go through customs and
Okay.
explain that I was addicted to balsamic vinegar. So, no, it's fine. The only thing is, if you don't want to be putting, drinking balsamic vinegar. I mean, if you mix it
No.
in with other things, it's fine. It's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Is it Jeannie or Jeannie?
Jeannie. Hi.
Jeannie. Hi, hon.
I talked to you on Telegram about this. It's not about diet, it's about the caprylic acid. and I'm
Yes.
doing a Candida diet right now. I have high Candida problems. And you're supposed to take 2 of those caprylic acid capsules. It's 800 milligrams, I think. And for
No,
the
not
past
to
months,
start with. Yeah.
yeah. But for the past months, I've been trying to add slowly but surely more than 1 capsule, and I don't sleep at night. It keeps me up all night.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
so-
And thank you for bringing that up, because it does affect your sleep if you're detoxing too quick, hon. That's your
Okay.
sign that you're detoxing too quick.
Okay. But I've tried this
Okay,
before.
so that's what it,
and it's
yeah.
been the same problem. You know, that was in November, I think, after you did that class. I did it, and the same problem happened.
What if
Okay,
you do
so if
400
you're
in the morning and 400 at night?
If
Like
I
what
what?
if she splits it up?
well, that's what I was
I-
just going to say. If she takes a half a capsule morning and night, and Tracy's right, it may help you because you're not killing so much. But if it still keeps you awake, then I would just take a half a capsule a day.
Okay.
Open the capsule, sprinkle it in some water, or put it in something. I mean, it
It's
doesn't
pretty
have a
gross.
flavor.
It tastes like cheese. It's gross taste.
Put it in something. Take a little bit of unsweetened applesauce, just a couple of mouthfuls.
okay.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it in there. Just don't get the sweetened kind, and eat it that way real quick, and then follow it with something else. But to Tracy's point, you're killing it too quick. That means you really have a lot of it, and you're getting the symptoms of insomnia because you're killing it, and the brain is trying to deal with everything that the gut is trying. Remember, the brain and the gut are connected.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you for asking that. You're welcome. Nancy.
Hi there. Just a couple questions.
Hi.
One, I may have missed it, but so if you have light Candida when you do the test, how long do you take the caprylic acid for?
Usually it takes about 90 days, Nancy, and then the barometer for you or for anybody will be when you no longer have anything floating. No legs, no tornadoes, no sinking to the bottom. When all your saliva floats, you've succeeded with what you want to do, and then just be careful. Now, when I succeed, which I have for a long time, I take it on weekends. I take 1 capsule at bedtime on weekends just as a precaution, because my Candida flares up like that with stress, or it's not diet, because I stick to my diet very religiously, but the stress can do it. And the minute it flares up, I end up with a urinary tract infection. So for me, the best way to prevent that is to take a capsule on weekends, and it's worked for years. Okay?
You also said that when you're doing this, not to do the mushroom coffee. Is that correct? During the protocol?
No. You can do the mushroom coffee that we've talked about on the program.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to take that coffee away from Tracy and I. Were both hooked on it. I've been hooked on it for years.
I'm hooked on
Tracy
it
loves
now.
it too.
One
I
last
know you
quick
are.
question.
Could you mention that? Yeah.
Every morning
Quick.
I'm really quick. The vitamin C powder, do you have a brand? I know you can't recommend brands, but any suggestions? Like,
No, because there's a lot of them that are pure. They're buffered. Just make sure they're buffered, and usually they're about 4,000 milligrams in a teaspoon.
I
Okay,
found
and don't
Life-
take it in cold water. It doesn't dissolve. Pardon?
Life Extension, which we have recommended their brand. They have one
Yes.
that's only like $20, and it has 84 servings, and a rounded teaspoon has 4,000 milligrams.
oh, thank
See,
you.
so
for-
there's your answer. Yeah, Life Extension's a great company. I love their products.
Oh.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay,
Thank
Dawn,
you.
you're the last one here.
You're muted, babe.
You're muted, honey.
Okay, I apologize. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead with your question.
I've been doing the standard process 21-day purification plan, and today is day 7. The first 10 days are all vegetables, essentially. And but I haven't
Right.
been pooping. I haven't pooped for a week. And I'm like,
That's right.
Is that normal or is that to be expected?
No, it is not normal. And that's why I don't recommend those type of diets, not to put anybody's protocol down. Do you eat meat normally?
Not a
Or
lot.
chicken or fish?
Usually fish and chicken.
Okay. Okay, but if you're not having the fish and chicken, you're not getting the fiber that you need either. So like with me, I can't eat a lot of red meat now, and I don't know why, because all of a sudden that happened. But I eat a lot of fish and chicken, and if I don't eliminate as well. So you need to do that if you're hydrating well, and then maybe even don't go buy the over-the-counter fiber stuff. Please, if you read the ingredients, you'd freak out. The one that starts with an M, that's advertised everywhere. If you read the label and look at the ingredients. Yeah, thank you. You can say it. I can't legally. Yeah, but take any kind of a supplement. You know what you could do as well, and this I can recommend, use the green powder that is the Vita-Mineral greens that you can get on Amazon. It's got every green you can imagine for detox, and it attaches like magnets. It's a big brown glass jar, and it has moringa and wheatgrass juice and chlorophyll, and it's got everything you can imagine without having to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. And you just start out slow. Don't start out with what the bottle says, okay? And that will act as a magnet to bring all that stuff to the colon. And as long as you're hydrating well, you'll be able to get rid of that stuff. No, do not go without eliminating. It's dangerous, okay?
Okay, so can you tell me, what was the name of that again? You said on Amazon?
Vita-Mineral, Vita, mineral greens.
Okay,
and it's made
got
by
it.
Health Force. Okay, it's on Amazon.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for your question. Good luck on your detox.
Thanks.
Dawn, do you see this? Colon cleanse.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's just 100% psyllium husk. That is all that is in it. That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a bunch of junk.
Nothing else.
Right.
Psyllium. And what I like
Give
about
her the brand.
it's just colon cleanse. That's all it is. Health Plus. Here's what I
Health
like
Plus.
about
That's what
it.
she needs to know.
What I like is that if you leave it on your counter, it gets slippery. When you eat a lot of vegetables, you have a lot of insoluble fiber, but this is a slippery fiber. So it gelatinizes and it helps things slide. So if you don't eat that, you need something else to give your body that lubrication or that slippery effect. So soluble fiber is really good for that.
It is, and she's right. And what she's got is pure psyllium, so you're okay. See, what happens with products like the M1, if you look at it, it's got all kinds of artificial stuff in it. And yet, because it's so widely advertised, people think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's not. So, in my opinion. So, where did you get it, Tracy? Didn't you get it
on either Amazon or Vitamin Shop? Yeah. Either one.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Maybe just put it in the chat.
Yeah, you can even buy just plain psyllium husk and do it yourself. You don't have to buy that. You could just do the regular psyllium husk. I think Now Brands makes one that's really good that you can get that's just plain psyllium husk too. It's just not labeled as colon cleanse.
Don't talk to me about that brand.
Okay,
but yeah, and you can get it in capsules.
Sometimes if it's too finely ground, it is almost like sludge and you can't get it down. This is still fibrous when you ingest it, and then it gets all slimy when you get it down. Okay, so I've tried a lot of different ones. That's my favorite. Okay, thank you,
she's
Dr.
right.
Gloria.
Okay. Thank you,
guys.
You're welcome. And one last thing. If all of you really enjoy this format, the main thing is that you learn something. Put a post. And you're not usually going to say this. Let Cynthia know that you enjoy the format that we have and that you really do learn a lot, so that she knows. There's no way Cynthia's going to know if you're benefiting and you enjoy it unless you tell her. She just has to assume by the number of people that see the replays. So please let her know. Put something in the blog and let her know so that we can see if we can continue the WoW on Thursdays. Okay?
Yeah.
God bless all of you. Thank you. I have to sign off. Okay.
Okay, everyone else.
You're welcome, sweetie.
We'll talk to you soon. Whoever wants to stay for the meditation, I'm going to go ahead and start that now. If you need to leave, go have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time. And let me find Laura's meditation. Okay, one sec. This always takes me a minute. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the new one. Share sound. If you guys can please make sure you're muted, and then we'll come back together after this meditation, and I'll share a story with you about my HHS.
Welcome to today's Miracle Moment Meditation, brought to you by QHS. Today, we will be guiding you through a meditation. It's important to note that this meditation is fast-paced. We encourage you to remain present and aware throughout the session. If you experience visions or emotions, that's normal. Allow yourself to feel and acknowledge them and stay present. When you heal it in yourself, you heal it in others. At the end of the session, remember that the effects will continue to work, so if you feel the need to rest, take time to do so. Thank you for healing this beautiful world, starting with you. Begin by allowing yourself to settle into your current position, feeling the natural comfort of your own presence. Now gently close your eyes and turn your attention inward. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out. Take a full, deep breath. Feel this breath filling every part of your body, nurturing and soothing you from within. As you exhale, allow yourself to let go of tension and discomfort. Recognize that these sensations are not you. They are transient, merely passing through. With this realization, watch as they dissolve into nothingness, leaving no trace behind. You are boundless, free from these sensations and their definitions. With each breath, feel them dissipate as you become more present, more peaceful, and profoundly centered in your true essence. Now let's deepen your experience with a breathing exercise that will enrich your meditation, creating a beautiful synergy between your inner and outer worlds. Focus on the soft sound of your breath at the back of your nose, reminiscent of the gentle whispers of ocean waves. The audible sound of your breath, like the ocean waves, anchor you to the present, connecting the vastness of the outer world with the depths of your inner being, automatically establishing harmony and coherence between your body, mind, brain, heart, and all of your energetic and spiritual systems. There is nothing else to do but be in this moment, deeply relaxed, fully supported, and profoundly at peace. Now bring your attention to your body. Identify the part of your body that feels the most relaxed at this moment. It could be as small as the tip of a finger or as large as your entire back. Focus your attention on this area. Observe how this relaxation feels, how deep, how serene it is, and imagine this feeling beginning to spread. Like watercolor on wet paper, allow this sense of relaxation to expand, moving gently to neighboring areas in your body. With each breath, this soothing sensation grows, filling you up. Breathe deeply, rhythmically, and with full breaths. Imagine the relaxation spreading further and further. Notice that it's no longer just a part of you that's relaxed. Your entire being feels embraced by this calming energy. As you continue to breathe deeply, envision waves of relaxation cascading across your body. Each wave washes over you, bringing deeper calm and more profound peace. These waves are rhythmic, aligned with your breath, sweeping through you, around you, beneath you, and even beyond you. Feel yourself being carried by these waves of relaxation, deeper and deeper into a state of complete serenity. Here, in this space, you are free to explore the depths of your inner world and to dive into the vast ocean of you. Let's tune in to the quantum twine waves. Take a deep, full breath, allowing yourself to fully immerse in the presence of the quantum twine waves surrounding you. Feel these waves embracing you, infusing you, and offering their gentle support. As you inhale deeply, visualize the quantum twine waves penetrating your body from the crown of your head to your toes. Sense the waves flowing through you, fostering a profound connection and resonance with your perfect wholeness. With each exhale, release any tension or resistance, allowing the quantum twine waves to permeate every aspect of your being. Notice the sensations as these waves interact with your cells, filling them with radiant light and revitalizing energy. Experience the warmth and vitality of this divine presence as it spreads throughout your entire being. Acknowledge the presence of Christ consciousness, the sacred energy that embodies unconditional love, compassion, and healing within these waves. Feel this divine energy permeating every aspect of your being, illuminating your path and guiding you toward wholeness. As you breathe in, envision your cells awakening to the healing energy of the quantum twine waves and Christ consciousness. Feel a harmonious alignment spreading throughout your body as every cell vibrates in tune with waves of wholeness and unconditional love. Continue to breathe deeply. Surrender to the process of integration. Trust the quantum twine waves and Christ consciousness. Intuitively know where they are needed, guiding you toward a state of wholeness and well-being. Witness yourself as you bask in the deep sense of peace and relaxation that accompanies this surrender to divine energy. Now shift your awareness inward to the God spark residing within you. This sacred essence serves as your eternal connection to the source of creation, reminding you of your inherent divinity and sacredness. Feel the God spark igniting within you, filling you with a profound sense of purpose and empowerment. Witness as it radiates throughout your entire being, illuminating every cell with its divine light. Feel the quantum twine waves harmonizing with your God spark and the Christ energy, amplifying their power and potency. With each breath, these divine energies mingle and merge within you, creating a symphony of love and light that resonates throughout your entire being. As you continue to breathe and visualize, surrender to the profound transformation unfolding within you. Trust in the wisdom and guidance of these divine energies, knowing they are guiding you toward a deeper connection with your sacred self. Let this integration fill you with peace, strength, and healing as we transition into our meditation. Guided by the radiant light of the Christ energy, the unwavering presence of your God spark, and the powerful embrace of the quantum twine waves. Now nestle in, relax, and enjoy your miracle moment. This journey begins with the understanding that the path to the collective healing starts at the core of our individual being. As we nurture and restore our own wellness and wholeness, we create ripples that extend beyond ourselves. In cultivating self-love, we find that love extends outward naturally. By healing ourselves, we lay the foundation to contribute to the healing of others. Every act of self-care is a stepping stone toward a healthier humanity, where healing ourselves becomes the catalyst for healing the world around us. Let's begin this process of transformation and embrace the wholeness that is our true nature. To begin, focus your attention inwardly and scan your body gently with your mind's eye. Notice how different areas of your body feel. As you continue this gentle observation, search for a spot within you where you feel a sense of wellness, wholeness, or joy. It might be a warm feeling in your heart, a lightness in your chest, or a calm space in your mind. Should you feel that a space of wellness isn't immediately apparent within your body, allow yourself to gently expand your search. It might reveal itself in a cherished memory, a hopeful vision of the future, or within the quiet depths of your spirit or soul. Trust that your wellness exists within you in many forms and places, waiting for your recognition. Your journey to locate it is unique to you, and finding it is the only thing that matters. Once you have found this spot of wellness, wholeness, or joy, focus your attention on it. Observe its qualities, how it feels, the sensations that come with it, the sense of completeness it brings. Breathe into this space, and with each breath, envision the sensations of wellness intensifying and becoming more vibrant. Whether it manifests as warmth, a sense of completeness, or an inner glow, feel it as it amplifies within you. Now, with intention, begin to allow this sensation of wellness to expand, like the warmth of the sun spreading at dawn. Let it gracefully move through your body. With each breath, it grows, filling you from head to toe, reaching into every cell, every space within you. Visualize this wellness, wholeness, and joy moving beyond the physical. See it extending into your energetic systems, illuminating them with its wholesome light. It brings balance to your emotions, clarity to your thoughts, and a deep sense of peace to your spirit. As you continue to breathe, a sense of complete wellness encompasses your entire being. You are in harmony with yourself, body, mind, and soul. In this space, you understand wellness, wholeness, and joy are at the heart of your natural state, a core part of who you are. Feeling this wholeness as a steady, unwavering presence within you. It's always there, always accessible, Anytime you wish to reconnect with this feeling, simply turn your focus inward. Now let's embrace a quiet moment together. This pause and guidance invites you to personally engage with the quantum twine waves, deepening your connection and enhancing your experience to its fullest potential. When you feel ready, gently bring your awareness back to the present moment. Take a few deep breaths, and when you open your eyes, carry this sense of wellness and wholeness with you, letting it infuse every moment of your day. As we conclude this meditation, step forward with confidence, knowing that the quantum twine waves continue to flow within you. Their positive influences remain active, extending far beyond our shared time in this space. Take this step and every step hereafter with the knowledge that you are blessed.
Well, I didn't want to come out of that one. Not sure about you guys. Anybody have anything they'd like to mention? Oh, I was going to tell you. So I took the HHS out of my room, my bedroom a while back because I thought it was my husband was getting too much energy from it. He wasn't sleeping. And then I just put it back. And wow, have I felt like I'm sleeping deeper, longer, better. And it just feels so good. So I just wanted to tell you guys that. All right, if nobody has anything to report to, oh, go ahead, Kat.
It is.
There you go.
I had someone contact me about a half hour before we went into the meeting, and this is a very common thing that people do with me. They'll say, if they're friends with me, she said, I just moved into this new place and there's some crazy energy there. Can you please just help me and just let it go or get rid of it? And I don't like this feeling. Something feels weird in the spot I just moved into. And so I didn't get a chance to do anything until this meditation started. And it was so powerfully beautiful because I was able to do that energy shift for her and share all of this with her when I sent it to her. And it was just so powerful. And I feel it was just so wonderful to have somebody there with me and you guys were all here. I could feel everybody. And the energy is just so powerful to help so many people. And it's just so beautiful. This energy is just magnificent. Anyway,
That's
thank
cool.
you all being on my journey with me at this.
You know what we need to come up with a name for, you guys, is so I often equate this twine, all of these HHS systems as the mycelium, right? But we need our own name because the mycelium is the mushrooms and the big trees and everything in the forest. But we need to come up with a fun name that is similar for what we're creating here with this wave that is just going through the ether and benefiting all. So it needs to have a unique name because it's unique. It's one of a kind. There's nothing like it.
I think something about magnificent should be in it. I'm just feeling we can all game plan, but I'm just thinking it's magnificent. It's something that I've never felt before, and it's just so powerful.
Yeah, it's
Throw
powerful.
something out.
Awesome. Well, that's cool that you have people requesting that of you. You must have some really cool superpowers. So love it.
I do. Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else? No? All right, let's close the way we always do. Hands in prayer pose. May we think only joyful thoughts to your mouth. May we speak only kind words and to our heart. May we show love to ourselves and to all those around us. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, Thank you. Loved
Thank you.
all. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Make it a beautiful day, you guys.
Thanks, Trace.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, Kelly.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.